You are listening to part 2 of Journey Outside the Comfort Zone's conversation with Stephanie Stolzenbach. So Stephanie had crossed the physical boundaries that stretched between her and the students. Now she needed to overcome the interpersonal barriers that existed.
I am this white female social worker sitting in a group of 8.
8 young women sitting down with a veritable stranger.
So off the bat, they were kind of feeling me out a little bit, asking some questions, and really trying to see, can we trust this lady? Can we really open ourselves up to her?
Stephanie knew it was critical early on to establish a safe space for the girls.
I was really trying to kind of empathize with that, provide support, and really create a safe and supportive space for these young ladies to begin to work on personal goals, academic goals, increasing their self-esteem, increasing their academic performances. But first and foremost, establishing a relationship between myself and them, as well as within the group itself. Despite these differences, we're gonna peel some layers back, we're gonna let our guards down, and we're gonna see one another as hopefully just human beings, all trying to figure out this thing we called life.
But the girls were not just initially defensive towards Stephanie. They were also shielding themselves from their fellow classmates.
The girls were also very cautious of one another. They didn't really trust each other from 6th grade. Again, all of the fighting, all of the bullying, a lot of the talking behind each other's back. There was a lot of distrust.
It goes without saying, Stephanie had her work cut out for her.
So we began our meetings week after week for about 45 minutes on Mondays and Thursdays. I had 2 separate groups with 2 separate caseloads of students within those 2 groups. And what was so fascinating for me over those first weeks and months was the true commonalities that existed within the group and that began to surface.
Many of the girls had incarcerated family members, had seen community violence, or even experienced violence themselves.
And through these shared narratives with one another in these support groups, the girls grew so close and the bond was really, really strengthened. And again, previous school year, we're at odds and ends, fighting in the cafeteria, fighting in the hallways. So for me to see this growth within the interpersonal realm was fascinating. And the fact that they were letting me into their life as well as kind of this group facilitator felt really wonderful. Again, knowing that from what they had told me, they hadn't had a lot of interactions with Caucasian people other than teachers. And it was a little unfamiliar for them to have a Caucasian social worker in the school. They weren't really used to that. And so it was really gratifying to see them opening up and sharing such personal stories within the group, and also that they allowed me into the group. You know, they considered me a group member, not just a facilitator, but actually a member of the group.
Stephanie's journey was not over, but neither was she alone in it. She had been joined on it by the very girls she had come to serve. Next week, the bonds become stronger. The group takes on an identity and a name, and Stephanie approaches one last step in the journey, saying goodbye.